The slow, frustrating process of thinking didn't phase a government ban, it simply faded away. People realized that wrestling with ideas and navigating uncertainty took too much time, especially when a faster option arrived. Artificial intelligence entered the workplace as a highly capable assistant. It helped people draft documents faster, analyze vast data sets, and hit their daily targets with zero friction. The immediate results were highly measurable. Researchers mapped complex patterns hidden in their data in a single afternoon. Managers reviewed thousands of metrics and approved multi-million-dollar decisions in seconds. Everyone embraced the upgrade because the output was flawless. But the sudden availability of instant data masked a significant trade-off. Organizations began confusing the speed of an answer with actual comprehension of a subject. Look at this diagram mapping a standard workflow. Historically, a gap exists between the problem node and the solution node. That gap represents the pause, the hours of doubt and exploration required to figure something out. Now, watch what happens when we introduce AI into the timeline. The gap between problem and solution compresses to zero. With that pause gone, the struggle disappears. And as you can see, when this instant solution duplicates across dozens of workflows, the outputs flatten and merge into one identical stream. Every worker is pulling from the exact same generated patterns. On the surface, this looked incredibly efficient. Meetings took half the time, slide decks were immaculate, everyone communicated with perfect grammatical clarity, yet true originality quietly vanished from the conversation. Directors were greenlighting complex strategies at record speeds. But if you stopped an executive and asked them to explain the specific logic behind the strategy, the actual mechanical steps required to execute it, they drew a blank. The cognitive heavy lifting was completely outsourced to machines, leaving humans to manage a perfectly efficient, entirely hollow system. While the rest of the world optimized for speed, one person remained conspicuously slow. In rooms where answers were generated instantly, he sat completely still, pausing to question the output before acting. He didn't ban the algorithms from his desk. He prompted them and read their responses, but he treated those generated answers strictly as a first draft. To him, the AI's conclusion was just the starting line for his own work. He prioritized a specific kind of resistance, the mental effort of doubting a result and searching for the logic behind it. This slow, difficult process ensured he understood the context of a problem, not just the output. By forcing himself to struggle with the material, he built a working mental model of the problems he faced. In an era of infinite, frictionless answers, his deliberate inefficiency built a reservoir of actual comprehension. Then the cracks started to show. Supply chain strategies that looked flawless in the modeling software failed upon deployment. The automated systems successfully optimized the raw data, but they completely ignored the messy realities of human behavior. Because nobody was checking the logic, these flawed models were treated as verified facts. Teams executed commands entirely out of context, assuming the algorithm had already accounted for the variables. Those bad decisions generated corrupted metrics, which automatically fed into adjacent networks. Logistics mistakes immediately infected financial projections, bypassing human oversight entirely. Look at this visual representation of the network. The rigid geometric grid represents the AI's strictly mathematical parameters. Now watch as real-world unpredictability, an irregular organic event, pushes into the system. The grid cannot accommodate the ambiguity. It distorts and bends under the pressure. When the pressure peaks, the grid snaps. The structure shatters, cascading into a chaotic burst of jagged data spikes. A localized logic error rapidly multiplied into a massive failure across the entire infrastructure. The real-time dashboards and predictive tools everyone relied on instantly became useless. An algorithm cannot give you a clean summary of a crisis when the foundational data it reads is completely broken. The people overseeing these systems had no idea how to respond. Deadlines passed, operations halted, and boardroom confidence turned into widespread panic. They were paralyzed because they hadn't wrestled with a complex problem in years. The mental muscle required to troubleshoot, trace an error to its source, and adapt on the fly had completely atrophied. Removing friction had maximized speed, but it stepped away all resilience. A system built entirely on automated assumptions breaks the second it encounters the unpredictable messiness of the real world. In the middle of the blackout, the frantic searching stopped. The teams operating the shattered network turned their attention to the one person who had been stubbornly sitting with his thoughts. He didn't have a secret piece of software to fix the servers. What he had was a deep structural understanding of how the supply chain actually functioned. He could look past the corrupted spreadsheets, identify the contextual risks, and chart a logical way out. The breakdown grew from a lack of human oversight, not a failure in the code. By surrendering the responsibility of thought, the operators had made this systemic collapse inevitable. As artificial intelligence becomes universally accessible, the competitive landscape flattens. Whoever dominates tomorrow's markets won't be the group that simply has the most access to AI. It will be the individuals who can think past its boundaries. The true edge lies in the strict discipline to pause, to look at an instantly generated strategy, quietly verify the assumptions, and calmly question the output, while the rest of the room blindly accepts it. Intelligence is found in the courage to resist the immediate answer and endure the struggle of questioning it.